"Sir, the gravitational field is stabilizing," the ensign shouted with excitement. The bridge crew watched their captain, awaiting his orders. The ship stretched and groaned under the pull of the wormhole, inescapably drawing them closer into the unknown. The year was 2271. For nearly a decade, Nick Croshaw had been researching the Nezo Triangle, a governmental outlawed quadrant of space, made famous by the Artemis, a colony ship that had vanished into the depths of space some 39 years earlier. Some thought the triangle was a mystical site that had ancient powers. Religious fanatics had said it was a limit put on mankind to stop our reach into the stars. But the general population had long held the belief that it was just a dark sector of space on the outer rim of our system, used by pirates for nefarious acts. Nick had other ideas. He believed it could be a gateway, a wormhole into another system, or even possibly another galaxy. Though he couldn't be sure, he was determined to find out. He had dedicated his life to this work. Years it had taken to allow the government to grant him access into the triangle, painstaking hours of paperwork and pleading, to get the funding, endless nights of calculations and testing. But here he was, on the doorstep to the galaxy. "Sir, your orders. The gravitational field has stabilized." Nick shook the thoughts of his past, slowly fading back into reality. "Increase the stabilizer power to 90% and engines on full." Half surprised his calculations were correct, he knew that even though he had stabilized the opening of the wormhole, it would be for only a few short seconds. As they entered the slipstream, the known universe seemed to fade behind. In an instant, the ship began to shake and shudder. "Captain?" Nick faced the room. The eyes that looked upon him were uneasy, with a small gleam of fear. "Steady on the bridge," he barked. "Ensign, keep her in the middle of the tunnel. Eyes on the prize, boys. We'll make it home." Unsure of what really to expect inside the slipstream, this was overwhelming, even for a seasoned pilot. Colors washed over the ship. The sides of the tunnel were radiating light. But at the same moment, it seemed as if the tunnel would round the next corner into a deep darkness. "Look alive, Ensign. The tunnel gets pretty tight up ahead." Nick had all the faith in his crew, but this hunk of steel they were encapsulated in was rather large compared to the diameter of the wormhole. And as they got closer to the narrowing, he began to wonder to himself, what would happen if they hit the edge of the tunnel? Would they exit the slipstream in the middle of nowhere? Would the ship incinerate upon contact? Would it just bounce off? No time to think about that now. They were here, the narrowing. Nick looked down at the ensign at the controls, a small bead of sweat running down the side of his face. With inches to spare on either side, they glided through the narrowing as if the ship had been designed with precision for such a space. He exhaled a sigh of relief. "Well done, sir. Well done." He patted the ensign on the back. What felt like hours passed, but was in all reality just a few minutes. Then in an instant they saw what could only be described as the end of the tunnel. A peaceful starry night lay before them. Exiting the slipstream, the shuddering of the ship stopped. Nick looked at the rear cameras. The wormhole had closed. "Navigation, mark this location and start a subscan of the surrounding areas. We need to find out where we're at." Within minutes, the computer began spewing out star map data. It seemed very confused, as if the computer knew where they were at, but didn't all at the same time. "Captain, what do you make of this?" Terry, the ship's navigationalist, walked over from her post and pulled up the computer chart on the holotable. Everything looked familiar, but was off. Nick took a hard, long look at the star map. Not sure what to make of it, he decided to take a few of the main star constellations and line them up with currently known star fields. After studying it for a few moments, it hit him why there was something familiar about the star map. "This is it! We're roughly one system away from Sol. Here, look at these data points. Notice the Draco constellation? Except for these two stars on the tail, they're roughly 10 degrees separation from what we would see on Mars or Earth. This is fantastic. If I'm correct, we're near A31. A31 was one of the closest stars to Sol, roughly 55 astronomical units from Earth. We knew a fair amount about the star system. It was an average-sized yellow dwarf, a little larger than our Sun, playing host to at least 2 known planets, possibly more. Nick paused for a moment to let it all sink in. "Well, crew, one small step for man, and the first jump for mankind. We are now, at this moment, the first humans to leave our system." Nick Croshaw and his team were able to reopen the wormhole and travel back to Sol, reuniting with their families on Earth. In commemoration of this achievement, the discovery of the wormhole, the first team to travel to another system, A31 was renamed the Crowshaw system. Later, the discovery of 2 more planets and the terraforming of Crowshaw 2 and Jelly would pave the way for mankind's ascent into the stars.